day 3.
It's scoliosis!
Today we are going to be down onto a mat. If you have a yoga mat, you can do it without a yoga mat, but it just makes things a little bit more comfortable. And if you do have either a yoga block or maybe a big thick book or a little box, I don't know, something roughly this shape, be creative. And a pillow, so I just took this from my bed. You could also use a blanket or another kind of pillow. I don't know, get creative, see if you can find something like these two around the house. Put me on pause and I will see you in a second. For today's class, we're going to be doing a little bit of yoga, a little bit of movement down on the mat just to get the spine feeling good, get the energy flowing through the body. So we're going to come onto all fours and let's make sure the hands are underneath the shoulders. You can spread the fingertips nice and wide, that the knees are underneath the hips. You can tuck your back toes under if that feels okay. If not, just have them untucked. It's not going to make too much of a difference, but this can be a nice way to actually stretch the backs of your feet and your toes. Then we're going to move through a little bit of cat and cow. And we want to try and make this as scoliosis or fusion friendly as possible. So what I don't want to see is like aggressively rounding into the back and then pushing the belly down. What we're going to do instead, if you have a fusion, first of all, you're going to move through a little bit of a scapular push-up. So that means you're going to go through protraction to retraction of the shoulder blades, just pushing yourself up and down a little bit, taking it nice and slow. If you don't have a fusion, you can try a little bit of rounding into the back. So this is flexion where we round. You tuck the chin in towards the chest, you push through the hands, but don't really aggressively push up towards the ceiling because that can actually push you more into your curve. Just have like 60% of your flexion, if that makes sense. And then you're going to push your belly down, lift your tailbone, lift your head. This is extension. And again, we don't want to push really deep into it. We're just getting a little bit of movement. We round into the back, and if you know where your concave side is, especially if you have a thoracic curve, you can think about pushing that concave side up towards the ceiling a little bit more. If that's complicated or doesn't make sense, don't worry about it. But if you know, you know. We're going to push the belly down, lift the chest, lift the head, come into extension. And then I just want you to flow through this a little bit at your own pace with your own breath. You can inhale as you lift and open through the chest. You can exhale as you round into the back, push the spine up to the ceiling. And you are the boss here. If you want to give the head a little wiggle around, if you want to give the hips or the shoulders a little wiggle around, you are totally welcome to do that. This is a really good opportunity for you to go inside your body. See what feels nice, see what feels tight, giving yourself an opportunity to just connect with your spine for a moment, to get some movement through your spine. And we get 3 more flows here. Just doing anything that feels good, that feels nice for your spine. And noticing what you notice. And then we're going to come back to a neutral position. Then from here we're going to do a puppy pose, and this is where I do recommend having your tucked toes, your toes tucked under if You can, if that's okay. Again, if it's really uncomfortable, don't worry about it, but it is preferred to have the toes tucked under. We're going to shift the weight, so we're going to be doing puppy, where we shift the weight so that the hips come halfway between your knees and your ankles. So you're bringing your bum back, you keep the bum back, and then you reach the arms out in front. And you just have the head is neutral, so try not to just let the head completely angle down towards the ground. And I want you to think about your hips going backwards and your arms reaching forward. So we're getting some traction, some elongation for our beautiful spines. And this is fine for all curves and for fusion as well. So just hold here for a moment. Get some nice, big, deep breaths into the back of the body, into the back of the ribs. And just experience this pose. Always exploring how it feels with your body. Is there a way to make it feel a little bit better? Maybe get a little bit longer. And we'll get 2 more big, big, deep breaths. Getting any little movements that feel good for you and your spine. And then we'll bring ourselves back up. We're going to do one more thing, which is a child's pose. One of my favorite things to do. So nice to get elongation for the spine, but also bringing us into that parasympathetic state, helping us to calm our nervous systems. One thing we're really trying to focus on this Christmas time. So this is where your block or your book is going to come out. It's going to come in handy, so you can have that out in front. It's going to be for your forehead. And then the pillow or blanket or anything that you have is going to go underneath your butt. First of all, I want you to make sure that your knees are wide. You can have them, if you have a yoga mat, roughly as wide as your mat. So I'm sitting with my knees wide like this. And then the toes are together. And you want to make sure that your toes are like equal and that you don't have one foot that's like way further back than the other one, because you know, we have scoliosis and sometimes things are a little bit unequal. And maybe if it's comfortable, you can keep your bum down on your heels, or you can take a pillow or maybe 2 or 3 pillows. You can really stack this up if it's more comfortable. But you want to try and keep your bum down towards your feet. As you come forward, you're going to take your forehead to the block or the book or the box, and then reach the arms out in front. And now we're in our wide-legged child's pose, where we've actually lengthened out the spine. And you can keep it quite active if you want to keep reaching your hands forward. Keep actively letting the hips sink down towards your heels. Feeling a long stretch through the back of the body and an opening through the ribs, especially as you inhale. Now really breathe. See if you can send your breath up towards the ceiling, up into the ribs. And if you maybe want to be a little bit more passive, a little bit more relaxed, you can just let the elbows flop down to the ground, let everything kind of just be really floppy and relaxed. This is your practice. I'm just giving you options. I'm actually gonna stay active, reaching my arms forward. And I just want you to enjoy this moment. Maybe closing your eyes. Just noticing how this feels on the body. Can you let go? Let go of the tension, maybe in your jaw or your forehead, your shoulders. Can you let the hips sink a little bit deeper towards your heels. And I'm just going to let us stay like this for 4 more slow, big, deep breaths. Can you inhale for a count of 4? Can you exhale for a count of 4? Get one last big inhale. Give you the option, maybe you want to stay here a little bit longer. That's totally okay. In fact, I encourage it. But if not, you can bring yourself up and just take a moment. Let it all sink in. Just noticing how the body is feeling now after those simple yet yummy stretches. I hope you feel a little bit better. Thank you for joining me today, and hopefully I'll get to see you tomorrow.